Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 14th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. Had a really good Monday. Just normal work. We plodded along. Vibes were nominal. Let's see here. Food corner. I decided to do it up the other day, and I did chili and onion rings. But then I had, and this is where I get really, really fat. Sure. Um, I had eight cinnamon rolls. And with these cinnamon rolls, I decided to do some variations on them. So on some of them, I did chocolate chips. I kind of put some chocolate chips in or on top of them, which I gotta say aesthetically did not turn out well. I should have not done that. I should have jammed them in, deformed the whole thing, just done it differently if that's what I was gonna do, which I could have done, and I just wasn't smart. Then I did peanut butter on one. So there was one cinnamon roll with peanut butter on it. I had one cinnamon roll with jelly on it. I had one with strawberry and icing. I put icing on overall most of them, and then the remaining icing I kind of just used as a dip. So I ate all this in concert. It was very good. It was very yummy. I've had chili and cinnamon rolls before. I've had chili and peanut butter and chili and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches before. So I've done all that before. It's not new, but it was just nice to kind of do this all. Plus the onion rings were also good. So almost like the chili was just an effective dip. It was good. It was yummy. Let's see here. This is still me corner. Part of why my day was good, funny, interesting is also why my night on Saturday was also kind of fun. My friends had decided to gift me with something fun, a little treat, and essentially it was a little special kind of pills, and of the herbal variety, let's just say that. And they just said oh, these are really strong. We're actually giving these to you. This is actually a regift because the initial person just could not hang with them. They were scared straight off of these things. And I was like, come on, whatever. No way, no how. And I do think this is kind of the fun thing that my friends like to do is just I wonder if this will if Isaiah can tank this. And so I'm always curious enough too. So of course I say yes. And so I see these things. I get them open. And I said, oh, okay, I'm going to take two of these things. And I think they were each 50 milligrams, something like that. Now, in my head, I have this plan. I have this fantasy of one day getting this thing. It's called what they call the Death Star, I believe. And essentially that thing is 500 milligrams. So in theory, one day I would like to have that. I would like to try that and see what that does to me, if I can weather that. And that would be a fifth of that, according to, the packaging. And, I took it. We had a good time. It was fun. That being said, I would say I did notice it. I was not unfazed by it. I would describe it as there was a moment of it felt like someone was doing a headband thing, pulling my wig back or something like that. But definitely trying it the next day or whatever. It's still fun, but it's definitely I almost felt grumpy. So it's an interesting element to my days. I do find experimenting with things like that are fun. I like experimenting with things like that in general. I think it's a good time. But obviously do that kind of stuff responsibly. Know yourself. It's definitely not for everybody. Whatever you do, your thing, you can definitely find a way to do too much. I kind of have a mantra of oh no, you don't. But no, you should do things responsibly. If you have a doctor or a person who you can consult about those things, do that. That's my disclaimer. All right. Anyway, enough about Shmee. Let's get into some news. Well, at least segue into some news. I gotta do my classic startup. In the garden. Okay. All right. Actually, I'm glad I got myself a little relaxed because almost all of these stories are going to make me very upset, and I'm going to try to curtail that, contain that. From the Associated Press. 6 former Mississippi officers plead guilty to state charges for torturing 2 black men. Now, when this story initially hit the cycle, I am not going to lie to you, I kind of just didn't want to talk about it. Like, I didn't. And, like, I was like, Isaiah, I know you need to talk about this. Like, especially when we get into the fucking details of all this fucking shit, you need to talk about it. And I kind of let it just get lost in the shuffle. But then when I saw them with their pleads this week, I was like, nope, it's time. You got to do it. Come on. Come on. So here we are at the abyss. Six white former Mississippi law officers pleaded guilty on Monday to state charges for torturing 2 black men in a racist assault. All 6 had recently admitted their guilt in a connected federal civil rights case. Okay, in the gruesome crimes committed by the 6 men who had been tasked with enforcing the law, federal prosecutors saw echoes of violence some Mississippi police inflicted on civil rights activists decades ago. Locally, the sheriffs whose deputies committed the crimes called it the worst case of police brutality they'd ever seen, or he had ever seen. These guys, you know how I kind of talked, I've talked about these kind of police groups, but in this situation, I don't think this was actually like a task force or anything. It was just kind of like a group of local cops in this area, of Mississippi. They were just going by the name of Goon Squad, essentially just because of their general demeanor and also just how they would use excessive force. Like they just, to a cartoonish level, I think to themselves, they like, like we're just a bunch of goons. And truly they were. Like these were literal hooligans in fucking suits with badges and guns. In January, the officers entered a house without a warrant and handcuffed and assaulted the 2 men with stun guns, a sex toy, and other objects. The officers mocked them with racial slurs throughout a 90-minute torture session, then devised a cover-up that included planting drugs and a gun, leading to false charges that stood against the victims for months. Also, in the process of doing this fucking torture, they literally put a gun in a man's mouth and pull the fucking trigger. Like, which is literally the man lived through that moment and is still like dealing with the ramifications of that. Like they can't eat the same food. They have fucking nightmares of being executed. The 5 men, let's see, Brett McAlpin, Hunter Elward, Christian Dedman, Jeffrey Middleton, and Daniel Ottepike, a former police officer from the city of Richard, Joshua Hartford. They each appeared on Monday in jumpsuits with the names of jails covered by tape. I imagine they did that because, people knowing where these guys are going to be serving time is maybe like, oh, threat to them. Oh, I bet that's so scary. Let's see. They have like sentences ranging from 5 to 30 years, though the judge is not bound by that. Though I feel like judges are often they sympathize with cops. They often give them like lighter sentences. They coddle them, these motherfuckers. I mean, that's just, excuse me, from what I've seen. Excuse moi. The victims, Michael Corey Jenkins and Eddie Terrell Parker, arrived together to Monday's hearing and sat in the front row, just feet from their attackers' families. They were embraced by Monica Lee, the mother of Damian Cameron, a black man who died in Elwood's custody in 2021. Now, that's an unrelated thing. I don't think I'm going to really hit that too hard, but I do, if you feel it, like, if you're interested in this, I would highly recommend this article just because it does kind of talk more about that, how this, the Hunter Elwood is related to a whole other fucking situation where a person died, and, like, maybe at best they're going to get some more investigations on this, but there's still no justice there, and a whole fucking person died in that situation. So yeah, I mean, this shit just, it's disturbing. It is fucking disturbing. Not to mention, the whole reason here for these cops doing this. Like, do we, like, breaking in here, no warrant, torturing two black men like it's a literal fucking horror show movie, is because some neighbor was like, hey, these two black guys, they're not from around here. They're just there. What's going on with that? You guys should check that out. Like, just racism stacking on racism is how we fucking get here. Like, it's insane to me. Not to mention, these two men were here. One of the men was a friend of the homeowner who apparently has been paralyzed since they were 15. They're family friends. And essentially, they were just taking care of the house while the friend was at the hospital. Like, yo, could you imagine? So, needless to say, these two men have not been back for long stays to, to back here. That's completely fair. I completely get that shit. I would not want to go back to this area where people literally assaulted me, literally tried to execute me. Like, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And I wish this was just like, I wish you could isolate this. That this was just some kind of fucking Southern thing. Like, this was just some, like, oh, it's just the South. Like, no, it's not. This is system-wide. This is across the nation. It is worldwide, if you ask me. Like, so, this is how we're starting the episode. I'm sorry about it. Like I said, this is Tales from the Abyss. You feel me? Yeah, let's go ahead and roll out. Like, I got some more fucking cop shit to talk about. More bad cop behavior. From the Wrap. Kansas newspaper co-owner, 98 years old, collapses and dies following police raid of her home. And paper's offices. Police also seized the Marion County Records file server and other equipment needed to publish the paper. So Joan, or I think it's Joan, or it might be Joanne, but I think it's Joan. Joan Meyer, 98 years old, co-owner of the Marion County Record. They just go by the Record, I believe. Record newspaper in Marion, Kansas, died Saturday following police raids on Friday of her home and newspaper's offices. The raids contributed to Meyer's death, according to the outlet. The newspaper and numerous observers have argued that these raids of the Record's offices and Mayer's home were illegal. Warrants shown by the police alleged there was probable cause to believe that identity theft and unlawful computer acts have been committed involving Marion business owner Carrie Newell. Now, Carrie Newell owns the local restaurant Carrie's Kitchen. She alleged at a Monday city council meeting that the Record illegally obtained drunken information about Newell and supplied it to Marion Vice Mayor Ruth Herbel. Herbel's home was also raided by the police at the same time as Mayor and the paper. So essentially, because of this identity theft, they were able to raid the paper, raid this person's home, and also Herbel as well. Essentially, in these situations, especially for the Record, I think you're supposed to have a subpoena. So essentially saying, hey, you have information that you're not supposed, like that, or you have information that we need, or you were summoned to court to talk about a thing. Like you need to be here. You need to show up. But you can circumvent that by saying, oh, we actually need a search warrant to come in your house and get this shit. Because you're doing something illegal. Like, so actually we can just say, oh, the freedom of press does not fucking matter here. Which feels like a very odd, weird, and run. Especially because, apparently, like, she was trying to, I'm getting caught up in here. I'm getting in the weeds a little bit. But Newell was essentially, driving with a suspended license. I believe for like drunk driving or something like that. And the cops knew about it. Now that information was withheld, I believe from the press. Like, the Record didn't post that, but it was known information because it went to, the Record and it went to Herbel. It was sent, like, the source sent it to both those places. So now I think there's a divorce situation, and that's how that information was leaked. It's like, oh, well, now it's all out here. It's all on the table. And I don't know. I don't want to sit here and allege that, like, oh, the police did this because, like, I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit highfalutin to say, like, oh, they're trying to protect Carrie's kitchen. I doubt I doubt she butted up that hard. But at the same time, I could believe that they maybe were sympathetic enough to be like, ooh, like they did what? Like they did what to you, Carrie? Like hold up now. And maybe they did actually go through the motions here and shortcut the whole process. And because of that, you could say maybe someone died. Now, granted, I mean, yes, this is a 98-year-old person, but the stress of this whole fucking situation could easily be attributed like, okay, like, yeah, like they got so stressed out, they had like some kind of attack, and like now they're gone. Like that's really fucking sad. It's really fucking upsetting. So yeah, I mean, I am curious how this is going to play out. You know, yeah, no, we'll call this covered. But yeah, I'll keep you posted on anything else that comes up. Let's see here. Now this is not cop related, so there we go. We're done with the police. Fuck the police. I'm off it. Okay. From ESPN, I will say though, this story also upsets me very much so, for other reasons. Blindside subject Oher alleges Tuohy's made millions off lie. Retired NFL star Michael Oher, who subpoenaed, or I'm sorry, I'm on the other article, whose supposed adoption out of grinding poverty by a wealthy white family was immortalized in the 2009 movie The Blind Side, petitioned a Tennessee court Monday with allegations that a central element of the story was a lie, concocted by the family to enrich itself at his expense. Now, I gotta say, I've not seen The Blind Side. Some a little more tidbit about me, a little fun fact. I kind of decided ever since I saw the movie Crash, very amazing movie, awesome, dope movie, good, highly recommend, that I don't love the experience of seeing racially motivated, racially driven movies. They upset me in ways that I can't always explain to people. So, like, I often will see a movie, and like Get Out is the best example. I've never seen Get Out, and people are like, what? You've never seen Get Out? I had to go through that for like at least a year. People being like shocked that I did not see Get Out, and I'm like, yeah, because I can see from the trailer what the fuck the movie's about, and it makes me uncomfortable and it makes me unsettled. And I think The Blind Side was one of those movies where I really had this like notion in concrete, because I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, that's really moving, that's really like interesting, but like I this just feels like some white hero saver movie, and I don't like it. It just doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't do a feel good for me. So Sandra Bullock, I'm sure she acted her ass off. I'm sure everyone involved, great, cool, but I just wasn't I just didn't want to see it. But interestingly enough, I'm sure, you know, most of the people who are listening to this are millennials or Zoomers or whatever. So like you've been on the internet, you've done the scrolling, and you'll see an ad, right? And it's like usually like a clickbait junk ad, and it would be like, oh, Michael Oher says the big lie is actually or The Blind Side's a big lie, and it's like, oh, what? Like, and I feel like if I had watched the movie, I'd be highly tempted to click that, but I was like, I'm okay, like, if that's true, not surprised. But apparently Michael Oher recently put up a memoir about this, but is also filing a lawsuit as well. So the 14-page petition filed in Shelby County, Tennessee. A lot of Tennessee news this week. Tennessee probate court alleges that Sean and Leanne Tuohy, who took Oher into their home as a high school student, never adopted him. Instead, less than 3 months after Oher turned 18 in 2004, the petition says the couple tricked him into signing a document making them his conservatives, which gave them legal authority to make business deals in his name, which is very fucking depraved. I've talked about this shit before when we talked about the Britney Spears conservatorship, Amanda Bynes conservatorship, how fucked up these things can fucking be. How totally, yes, if you are like an old person with fucking dementia and like your family's just trying to make sure that your shit is in order, or whoever is your guardian, taking care of you, yes, conservatorship makes sense. But like in these weird situations where people want to get autonomy over a person, usually to take advantage of them monetarily, there's just no good coming out of it. And essentially, in this situation, what's being alleged is that the Tuohys said, hey, oh, we see this like rising star here. Like, there's definitely something to be gained here, to be had, and we should help out. We should actually like be involved. And they took it to a whole other level when they said, oh, you should start actually referring to us as your family. And for Michael Oher, someone who's had a very rough upbringing, who's this like son of 12 kids, one of 12 kids, and it's a very unstable home, who winds up in foster care, any kind of stability, like that kind of shit you are reaching out for. Like, I totally get that as like an adopted kid. Like, that part like totally fucking like hits. So you wind up in this home, these people, they're nice, they're taking care of you, it's a nice stable place for a second, it's a port in the storm, and they're telling you, call you mom and dad. And it's like, that's amazing. And then you get to this point where they're like, oh, okay, well, we maybe can't adopt you, Michael, but we can do something that's just as good. We can have you under a conservatorship, and with that, you're as good as family. Like, all you gotta do is sign the papers with us, and you're a part of our family. And for Michael, he goes, okay, say less, and that's what he winds up doing. And in doing so, they have now the rights to essentially his future, as he's now becoming this rising star. He goes to college, he becomes a draft pick, he winds up actually, becoming, a football player, a professional. And his name, like, in this movie blows up, and naturally they control the whole narrative of this movie. And not just the Sean and Leanne, the whole family gets a cut of the shit. I believe they each get about $250,000, and they get like a percentage of like some kind of royalties or whatever. But essentially, Michael doesn't get any of that. At least that's what he's alleging. And yeah, this fucking shit makes me mad. Like, that's insane. Like, you essentially just do this literal white hero shit, and you get to make yourselves the heroes in a movie, a literal movie off of someone's real ass fucking life. Like, you guys didn't need to do this shit. These people were fine. The Tuohys were gonna live well no matter what. And essentially they just decided to ride on the coattails of Michael and control his life and get a literal cut of his money. And he doesn't even get any. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. So yes, I hope he makes some money on this fucking memoir, and I hope he gets something else out of this fucking shit. Out of this petition. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that for the time being. Hopefully I will have updates, and I would say yes, if you'd like to get the whole story here, there's ESPN. And I'm not going to encourage you to watch The Blind Side. I sure am not going to, though I will say, love Sandra Bullock, and Speed is amazing. Also, Miss Congeniality, also bangers. So yeah, go watch Miss Congeniality. Okay. Last but not least, we have actually a little bit of a palate cleanser, though I will say it's rough. It's a rough go. But you know what I like to do at the end of, I'm going to take my little break, and then we'll close it out. All right. Whew. Our last story comes from The Guardian. Boy, 13 years old, survives after falling 100 feet from Grand Canyon North Rim. Wyatt Kaufman slipped on a cliff and fell after moving out of the way so other people could take a picture. A 13-year-old North Dakota boy has survived falling 100 feet from a ledge at the Grand Canyon's North Rim during a family trip. Emergency crews needed 2 hours to rescue Wyatt Kaufman after he slipped on a cliff Tuesday and plunged nearly 100 feet, or 30 meters to those internationally. Also, shout outs to The Guardian for making that, that correlation for me. you know, we need it over here. At the Bright Angel Point Trail, Wyatt was airlifted to a Las Vegas hospital for treatment of 9 broken vertebrae, a ruptured spleen, a collapsed lung, a concussion, a broken hand, and a dislocated finger. And then this is a quote from Wyatt. I was up on the ledge and was moving out of the way so other people could take a picture. I squatted down and was holding onto a rock. I only had one hand on it. It wasn't that good of a grip. It was kind of pushing me back. I lost my grip and started to fall. I feel so bad, but that's such a 13-year-old fucking thing to do. Like, yeah, I'm just at the edge of this fucking cliff face. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, let me move out of the way. Like, and look, I'm not gonna be mad at the people who were taking the picture, but like, clearly you should have said, oh, no, kid, no, son. Like, could you just actually get out of the way? Like, we would love to take the picture, but we don't want to see you fucking die. Don't squat out. I don't know. I totally get it, though. No one's really thinking about this shit. Like I said, you're 13 years old. Like, whatever. You're hitting a nice squat. Like, actually, I don't know that because I couldn't hit a squat until I was, like, in my late 20s. That's another story, though. You're hitting your squat. You're holding a rock. No, this is screaming unsafe. Like, I'm mortified at the image of this. But, yeah, he took a tumble. And, I mean, I hear 100 feet, I'm like, that's game over. That's over. That's Joe-over for you. But he made it, and he's alive, and we're happy to see that. Let's see. I do want to read this from Brian Kaufman, the father, which this is a little wholesome to me. We're just lucky we're bringing our kid home in a car, in the front seat instead of in a box, and I don't know why it's wholesome to me, but like, yes, that is true, because you see the photo of him. If you do look that up, he looks really scraped up. He looks really bad. But you think about that, and it's like, I'm just happy my son's alive. Because he just got that story. He literally got the news that his son fell into the fucking Grand Canyon and shit. So to hear that and then to know that your son's still alive, that's great. That's good news. So figure that's how we close it. And yeah, if you would like to contribute outside of just being an awesome listener, which is still super fucking great, it's still super awesome and dope, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News, if you'd like to support the effort. You become a newsie. I shout you out at the end of the month. That's fucking dope. You also get some, a little bit of archived, aside old episodes. Maybe even some future episodes if I decide to, like, paywall something a little secret, a little intimate. Sometimes the episodes get like that. I gotta do that. But, yeah, that's not common. It's a tip jar. But, it is what it is if you'd like to support. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. I'm on all the socials if you'd like to follow or you'd like to, subscribe, like to the YouTube. That would be great too. Another great way to support. Other than that, all the 5 stars, all the, we love this, comments, thumbs up, we'd love to see that. But yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.